Welcome to our energy talk. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach, energy healer, and energy therapist. And once a week we come together here on Skype Live to talk about these energies that we are picking up on as energetically sensitives or empaths or highly sensitive persons. This is the place where we can talk about those experiences, those things that are hard to talk about to other people. Hey, how are you guys doing? Beautiful. Denmark, Canada, Belgium. Yeah, this is truly enjoyable to hear from you guys all over the planet. How are you guys doing? What is your main concern at this very moment? We're going to talk about this in a few moments. I just want to let you know that since we have these daily sacred self meditations going on every day, sometimes even twice a day, I thought it would be a great idea to talk about the overall collective energies on these Wednesday energy talks. And therefore, I would like to invite you to listen to the energy alignment for January 22 with me, and then talk about these code words that are in there and explain to you how this relates to us and why these energies that coming in from the outside need to be contextualized from within ourselves with more awareness, so that we can form the right attitude, the right motivation, and also the courage to face what these times bring for us, and these opportunities and challenges that I report about in the forecasts. They of course translate differently for each and every one of us. And so I would like to start by listening to the energy alignment, which is a 20-minute meditation. You can obtain this through my email list. So just subscribe to my email list, and it will be in every email that I send out. You can download it and use it as your monthly antidote. If you go to my SoundCloud, you'll find energy alignments from previous months and years, and each and every one of them has a different focus. They all have a similar framework, and this framework consists of reminding us to not just see us as a 3D being that has a physical reality, paying bills, health, emotions, thoughts, relationships, jobs, and so forth, but also as an energetic being. And once we start understanding ourselves as an energetic being, we can see that there is so much more to us. Yeah, as a being that exists in 3D and the ether, if you will, the etheric, as we call this, the soul aspect of us, we need to recognize that we are not just our body, we are not just our emotions, we are not just our thoughts and beliefs, and we are definitely not our childhood, our karma, or our relationships. They can define us if we are unaware of their impact on how we're perceiving ourselves and our world. But if we make this one step into seeing ourselves as an energetic being that is basically, just to keep it simple, composed of these different realities, the physical reality, the emotional reality, the mental reality that we have, the spiritual reality, and also the energetic reality, which describes the things that are not exactly visible. They're in the unseen, but the effects can be seen. They can be seen in the physical. So the word energetic is basically just a placeholder for all the things that we cannot quite explain yet with our Newtonian paradigm, with the current paradigm of science. But we all know that these energies exist. We can all feel them. We are all affected by them. And here at transCODES, we learn how to use them to heal ourselves, to heal our relationships, to heal our life attitude, and to empower ourselves and others to find new ways, new values in life that allow us to find more purpose, more fulfillment. And so I would like to invite you now to join me in this 20-minute deeper contemplation and meditation. You will notice that there is a slight theta metronome in the background. Theta frequency is a frequency that allows our brain to vibrate, to the tact and the pace in which it operates on a deeper state of awareness, on a deeper state of consciousness, the kind that we usually have when we are sort of in this in-between state between awake and asleep. And the reason why this is desirable is because in that state we have more access to the unconscious aspects that are playing into how we perceive the world and ourselves and others. And when we walk this bridge, when we learn to walk that state, that higher state of consciousness, it allows us to find those puzzle pieces that we are often, I want to see, blocked to see, or blind. They're our blind spots, things that we don't have to be afraid of, but that fill in the gaps for us instead of having to ruminate about them or having to, go all woo-woo or fantastical about it. To fill in the gaps, to provide us the puzzle pieces to understand ourselves better. And these energy alignments that I create every month for you, they come in with a special spin for each month, because each month brings in a different coloration, if you will. It brings in something into the foreground that needs to be dealt with, something that needs to be made conscious. So we can say that these energy alignments help us to make the unconscious conscious, and the way we do this is by systematically training our brain and our body, our being, to exist in this state where we can connect and witness our body, our emotions, our thoughts, our spiritual connection, and even our soul connection. So to prepare for this now, I would like to guide you through a mini grounding, centering, and clearing of your energies. This is something that you can do with yourself before you want to go a little deeper. The first part, the grounding part, is very simple. It basically consists of making connection and anchoring yourself in your body. We call this grounding and grounding in energy lingo. Close your eyes, breathe out, and feel the bottom, the soles of your feet. feel them, even if you wear shoes or socks. And place them on the ground right now. So laying down is not a good way to do this kind of consciousness work because you run into danger and falling asleep. So sitting down comfortably and touching the ground with your feet, and feel your feet touching the ground. And right there, when your attention goes to that interface between your physical and the planet, that's when you ground your energy. Those of you who have learned some techniques, you can visualize your energy going into the ground like a tree, forming roots and connecting with the planet, the heart of Gaia. And as you do this, you start to breathe in, and you can visualize breathing in from within the ground up into your lungs, into your center. And then you hold it there for a moment, and then you release your breath out and see it expanding into the ether around and above you. Let's do this one more time. Breathe in through the ground. Hold it. Breathe out. And go as wide as you can. Breathe in again. Hold. Expand and breathe out. And to help yourself to clear your mind, because this is one of the biggest issues that we all have, that we're in our heads too much. Take your hands and rub your palms as fast as you can until you can feel the heat. You're speeding up your energy. You're doing this through the kinetic and friction energy here that you're willing into your hands. And use this heat to clear your head and the energies around it. Don't forget the back of your head. Slowly come back. By the way, when you find yourself stuck in your head, I don't know if this ever happens to you. You can do these grounding, centering, speeding up techniques that I just showed you before the meditation. Even if you're at work or in situations where you can't really show that you are struggling, or where it's more like an internal process. Yeah, this is a very complex energy alignment. Each and every sentence carries very important messages for our subconscious, and that's what we call codes, because they do something to us. It's not like hypnosis or an affirmation, it's different. Learning how to write those kind of energy alignments is a science by itself. I teach that, but this requires a person to really train their energy awareness and their ability to focus on what these energies, the nature of these energies are, and how they go through a person's body and energy body. And I want to ask you if you experienced this like I did. This energy alignment here today had extremely strong impact on my physical. Did you guys feel this too? There was a lot going on in my body as I was listening to this alignment, what were some of these things that you felt in your body? Who'd like to share? Hi there.
I was doing a lot, yeah, kind of like pressure, like
It's kind of hard to hear you. I don't know if it's just my audio. I heard you say that you felt a lot of pressure. Where did you feel this?
Can you hear me better?
That's a little better, yeah.
Sorry, I had my headphones on. I was feeling like pressure kind of in the stomach area, some pressure in like the middle of the back and kind of upper back area.
Can you describe the pressure for us a little bit? I mean, you know exactly what you're talking about, but how it felt like for you.
It felt like it needed like movement, like it felt kind of like it was building and kind of was pressure was moving and needed some kind of release somehow.
What you're describing, Becky, is a very common energy clearing or release symptom. So when we speed up our energies, which is basically what we want to do in order to heal things. So when energies, emotions, thoughts, even physical imbalances get stuck in us, to heal them, to release them, the energy needs to be sped up. It's kind of like warming up your soup or your coffee. All right, so when we heat it up, when we make it go faster, things can release and unfold. And I even want to go as far as like, it almost felt motion sick at some point. I got a little nauseous. Anybody else got a little nauseous throughout the meditation, the energy alignment, where things started to move so fast inside of me that I felt almost like, whoa, 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 hang on, I need to slow down. So there was a lot of stuff that needed to be released, and I didn't know what it was, but like you, Becky, I felt it in my stomach. My belly was grumbling. There was a lot going on there internally. And yes, exactly, Shona, my whole body, was kind of vibrating out of its tightness. Yeah. Lightheaded. Yes, the nausea comes in for me a lot. I'm very motion sensitive. I get car sick easily. Even when I'm the driver, I can get motion sick. So that's why I tend to get nausea a little bit. And when I get that, it's often also, I don't know if anybody else experienced this, accompanied with a lot of heat in my body. Not maybe a physical heat, but something like that felt like, literally something moving to you and a lot of heat being released. So when that happens, yes, in waves, exactly. And that's also why, for me, nausea can set in. So when I get these heat waves, all right, together with the motion, I have to remind myself to breathe slowly and to breathe consciously. And with every breath that I exhale, I'm basically consciously releasing. And that then helps to regulate, it helps to balance this extreme sort of intensity of energies going through me at this moment. So it basically forces me, not in a negative way, but it forces my body to adjust. Yeah. So my intention is going into this higher state. And then my body often has to catch up. My emotions and my thoughts as well. I had, this is very common when you meditate, that you first have to deal with some of the thoughts. Your brain has to slow down. And then it wasn't very emotional today, but I could feel how some, sort of emotional reactions in me started. And most of those felt relieving, actually. I heard myself talking to myself saying, oh my God, I should do this so many more times. Why don't I do this more often? I freaking write these things, right? So this is like this connection between thoughts and emotion, right? Where I remind myself this feels good, and then I noticed how tight my body was. Other very common release symptoms or clearing symptoms are burping or yawning, even sneezing. Did anybody have those kind of release symptoms? So something wants to come out. Sneezing, yeah. Yeah, so this is a good sign, guys. This is your body reacting to just a bunch of words, a theta metronome, a voice. Obviously, I know how to use my voice to facilitate these kind of energies going through us. Which parts of this energy alignment, the words in them, stuck out for you? This is something I would recommend anybody who does any kind of meditation technique, especially if it's a guided meditation, to pay attention to which parts come into the foreground. Remember how I said in the beginning that when you walk this bridge between the conscious and unconscious, that you oftentimes recognize things that are sort of being highlighted for you. They're coming forward for you that you were previously unaware of. And when you do a meditation without words, then it's maybe your own physical, emotional, mental responses, such as, in this case, the message was for Becky, Shihunu, and I, at least we are the ones sharing here, that our body is too tight and that things need to move a little faster, that we need to allow things to unfold a little more, and that we also need to release a little more, this tension. This is an inner message. So when you meditate without words, you can get this through your body, through your emotions, through your thoughts. When you meditate with words, and especially in energy alignments such as this, where every word is deliberately placed, it's very important that you pay attention to things that came forward, that stuck out for you. Because you will notice when you repeatedly meditate with this energy alignment, it's always the same words. The words don't change. And some of you have maybe experienced this with the Sacred Self-Healing Step meditations already, because there I recommend that you listen at least 10 times to each meditation. And yet each time you do it, a different part comes forward. What stuck out for you here with this energy alignment? And even if it is just snippets of what you remember, I've posted the words, the entire transcript of this energy alignment here in the chat. You can go back to it. But it's important that you train yourself to notice these things as you do them. Like basically recognize where your unconscious puts a sticky note and says, this somehow is more important or louder or more intense right now. There were two parts for me that stuck out. I hear you guys typing. Don't think too much. You're thinking too much. You filter it already by thinking about it. For me, two things stuck out. One that has to do with standing in my power. And obviously this is a very complex part here in the alignment. Yeah, when I stand in my truth, I basically stand in my power. And the other message that was highlighted for me was when I resist life, life resists. And if I take these two messages together, if I take these two messages that came forward for me, that were highlighted, when I stand in truth, I stand in my power. When I resist life, life resists. And in the alignment it says something along those lines, that when I'm not standing in my truth, life becomes a struggle. So basically putting these three pieces together, underlining for me that when I stand in my truth, I can trust in my life, in my spirit, in my purpose to unfold. When I am not standing in my truth, life becomes a struggle. And this is something that I have been studying for almost 25 years now. Right? So why does life sometimes become a struggle, and why is it in a flow sometimes? What makes the difference? And obviously this is my profession, so by helping people through these stages in which they are not in truth with themselves, I know that this person or I myself cannot stand on my power if I am not standing in my truth. So anybody who experiences life as a struggle, experiences life resisting, yeah, fundamentally doesn't actually stand in truth. And there can be many, many different reasons for that. Sometimes we just don't know truth, and we haven't really thought about it. We're at the very beginning of our journey and don't even know ourselves. And sometimes we have filters or blocks. You know, trauma can be a major filter for us to see truth. And sometimes we can be under the influence of outer interferences, of outer manipulation, such as gaslighting or mind control and things like that, persuasive, coercion, that make it really difficult for us to see truth, and therefore almost impossible to stand in our power. Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing, guys. Annette says, for her, the part where it says something about true self-intervention stuck out. Yes, let me find this. This has to do with when we're not standing in our truth. There's a part in us, and we call this part that the higher self or the true self, yeah, that has a tendency to intervene, yeah, to present us with a challenge so that we can more easily move into truth. In other words, being basically getting this little nudge, being kind of forced to look at truth through select challenges that can at the moment feel like a tragedy or something very inconvenient, but that allow us to see more truth because it forces us to deal with truth. Is that what you mean, Annette? Is that what it did for you? Or how did you interpret this for yourself? How does this sort of contextualize for you, Annette? Would you like to share?
Yeah, hi.
Hey,
It felt very positive for me.
okay.
It feels good to be reminded by my true self to look in a different direction if I'm on the wrong path. Yeah.
That's beautiful. This means basically what I'm hearing, yeah, when you share this. It means that you are trusting your true self.
Yes. Yes.
So you don't go against these things. When things happen to you, you recognize this as sort of your inner truth speaking to you, and, yeah, even if it's inconvenient.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Does this always go like this right away, or do you resist at first and then you realize?
Yes, sometimes. Sometimes, of course, yeah. It's not nice every time.
Just wanted to make sure that we all understand that it's human to resist at first.
Absolutely.
Now, Annette, let me ask you how you got there. How did you get to that place that you've begun to see when things happen that don't go your way or your ego's way, that there might potentially be some kind of lesson in there, or some kind of, well, true self-intervention is basically sort of the, like what other people would call fate, maybe, you know, where you being sort of corrected in your path a little bit. How did you get there to actually trust in your true self? Was it always like that?
No. Absolutely not. When I was younger, it was very hard to get there. I didn't get there most of the time, but age has something to do with it. And then, of course, all the process about working with the heart and feeling into it, and that has taught me to trust in my heart. And thereby my true self. Yeah. But it has taken a lot of work to get to there. But now I trust it fully, absolutely.
How has that practically, like in your life, affected you? What did this change?
I know when I feel this heart connection, true self connection, you can call it, then I know I'm on the right path. I know I should do it, even if it feels uncomfortable. I just really know I have to go in that direction, for instance, or do something that I feel unpleasant. But I do it anyway, because I know afterwards it will be a very good feeling and a good thing for me.
So there's a certain clarity?
Absolutely, yeah.
Now,
and a trust.
How has the trust formed? How did you get to that place to actually trust in it? I mean,
error and trial.
Trial and error. I love that. So the more you do this, the more you listen and trust, the more you learn to trust. Is that how that goes?
Yes.
So you basically don't know at first, but then if you look back, you can clearly see how that, say, inner impulse, right? Even if the ego, you know, the part in us that wants to stay in a comfort zone, was against it, even if it didn't make any sense, how it actually played out to your advantage, to your healing or growth or abundance. Beautiful. Yeah, and it takes a lot of work.
It feels very supportive, actually. You feel you have some kind of support from inside. Yeah.
This is huge. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is actually very huge.
As opposed to feeling alone, right? As opposed to feeling, questioning yourself all the time, not feeling good enough, being afraid of making mistakes. It's huge. It's very beautiful how you described this, Annette. Thank you. This is a really profound message. Yeah, and hope for a lot of us who struggle with things. Now the tricky part is to actually have a good reference point for when we are connected and when we are not. Yeah, what it actually is that we are hearing. Are we hearing our ego talking, right? Or are we hearing or listening to our true self sort of showing us the way? This is the hardest part of our journey, to form this inner compass, this inner lexicon, right? Because that takes a while to get to that place where we can actually trust. Shehundu is sharing here, for him the statement, through the power in my heart, stuck out for you, and it immediately centers you. Yeah. And that's basically the message for you, Shehundu. It immediately centers you. In other words, you just got to remember, that this centering power, that resides in that connection with your heart and not your mind. And out of that remembrance, so your energy system remembers it. It does it automatically for you when you just hear those words. It understands it. It does it for you. But it can become even more powerful and basically conscious if you choose to go into your heart on your own volition. If you, for example, Annette shared with us how her true self-connection helps her to gain more clarity. And also probably more courage in times where things appear confusing or bleak or lonely. Then to choose to go into the heart and seek that connection and feel that support from the inside, as Annette shared with us, which is really, really beautiful. This is fundamentally what it comes down to. When we are struck by confusion, we can't feel ourselves. We can't really know what is going on with ourselves because we're not standing in truth enough. And this isn't because we're too dumb or whatever. Everybody can stay in truth with him or herself. It's just a matter of actually choosing to do it, dedicating ourselves to do this. And that's why each of these alignments, guys, starts with a fundamentally important phrase, namely, to freedom, love, and truth within, I dedicate myself. I am a soul with a body learning how to unify the spiritual and physical reality of my true divine nature. This is a just simple energy code to remind us of that profound truth, that we are not just a body, that there's more to us. And what is it that we often forget? The spiritual, the unseen. The spiritual, the unseen world can see me as a powerful being. Yes, the power of our consciousness. And the energy signature that we are basically adding to this universe. But I often can't see myself that way. And this is why I'm here. To remember the sovereign soul self that I am. And to remember that the true home is in the soul connection with the divine, my true self and other true selves. That's a statement, guys. That's an intention that I'm putting out here, basically to myself, to my unconscious. That this is what I want to dedicate myself to, and I want to remind myself that I am a spirit being, a powerful spirit being. And the ingredients to regain our power, to liberate ourselves from the blocks that are further defined in this energy alignment. The ingredients, the main ingredients of that power of freedom, love and truth. So that's basically the metaphysical essence of every spiritual teaching out there. So this is basically what this first paragraph of the energy alignment does for us, and sometimes that's all we need to hear. So if you have this energy alignment, again, sign up for my newsletter. You can download it from there. Work with these alignments. Work with every sentence, every paragraph that's in there. Because it will do something to you. The more conscious you can become about what it does to you, and how your own inner sort of contextualization shows you where you need to work on, where you need to gain more clarity, or where you need more trust. That is what we call consciousness work. That is work that each and every one of us, each of you guys, sovereign soul selves that you are, have to do with and from within yourself, so that you can feel this trust that Annetta reported about, and the support from within. Thank you guys for joining. This concludes today's energy talk. This wonderful meditation and contemplation together. Share this free Skype link here for people to join. This is open for everybody. And let's make this community grow, this community of conscious true selves, because ultimately that's also part of our purpose. Wonderful. I see you again on Friday with the energy update and tips for next week, week 3. Thank you for the birthday wishes. See ya. Bye-bye.